Hi, I'm here at the Big Apple Con, and I am here with Captain Zorikh, and he is here with the Captain Marvel culture. Captain Zorikh, can you tell me a little bit about this?
It's real simple. There are lots of people out there who may have heard the name Captain Marvel, but they don't actually know who it is or what it is. They don't know that there's been more than one Captain Marvel. In fact, there's been no fewer than 13 different Captain Marvels over the years from 4 different comic book companies. Now, a bunch of years ago, I took a look at this and I realized that if you're going to study the history of comics in relation to Western popular culture and history, one of the most important names that you could follow in order to do that is that of Captain Marvel, because unlike your Superman, your Batman, your Spider-Man, your Wonder Woman, they all evolved over time and were always the same character. Each Captain Marvel was created from scratch to serve the market of their day. Therefore, just to talk about who was Captain Marvel, when, and why, you have to talk about the origins of magazines, publishing, the pulps, the strips, comic books, superheroes, motion pictures. You got to talk about trademarks, copyrights, women's rights, gay rights, civil rights, the space race, the hippie movement, the anti-communist witch hunts of the 1950s. I'm not actually joking. It's all connected there. So what I'm doing, if you walk this way, is I'm working on a research project, a book and a video called Captain Marvel Culture. You can see on this poster, I've gotten autographs from everybody who was alive at the time that I could get to them, that I could find, who has written, drawn, edited, or done something about one or another Captain Marvel. Right now what I've done here is this is an abridged edition of the history I've produced. I'm releasing it to raise funds for the project, and it covers everything from the dawn of time. The first issue goes up to 1967, where Marvel Comics had its first Captain Marvel. It starts, of course, with Fawcett's Captain Marvel in 1940, and the next one goes from 1970, picks up where that left off with the Cosmic Space Hippie, goes all the way up to 1999, at the closing of The Power of Shazam. But also note, there have been female Captain Marvels, black Captain Marvels, alien Captain Marvels, Captain Thunders that have not come to fruition or that have only seen one shot. Captain Marvel has been involved in the birth of the graphic novel and the rise of the independent comics, has been involved with the peace, as I said, the hippie movement, the space race. You got to talk about the chariots of the gods theory. You have to talk about the lawsuits that occurred in the 40s and 50s that eventually shut down the original Captain Marvel. You have to talk about Elvis Presley. You have to talk about issues about racial stereotypes. You have to talk about motion pictures, because Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel, was the first Captain Marvel to ever be in a motion picture. It was the first superhero to ever be in a motion picture. You have to talk about the fall of comic books in the early 50s, the revival of superheroes. Why does The Flash look so much like the original Captain Marvel? Because that'll bring us to the pop culture sensation of the 60s, which led to the first non-Fawcett Captain Marvel, which died immediately, and then Marvel Comics said, we're Marvel Comics. We should have a Captain Marvel, and thus, when the original Captain Marvel was acquired by DC, they couldn't put the name Captain Marvel on the cover of the comic book, which is why when everybody sees this, they say Shazam. It's all confusing, but it's all connected. Somebody's got to set the record straight. Somebody's got to tell the story. If not you, why not me?
Oh, all right. Now, is there a place people can go to find out all this information to help fund your project, anything like that?
Certainly. CaptainMarvelCulture.com. You can read some excerpts and highlights from the book. You can go to the YouTube channel, Captain Marvel Culture, where you can see interviews I've done with artists like Neil Adams and Bob Hall. You can see excerpts from lectures that I've given at comic book conventions about this history. And so long as we're talking about me, I'd also like to add that I have a little band called the Death Star Repairmen. We play Star Wars themed rock and roll wherever and whenever we can. I also have been known to come on over here, you don't have to reach over the table. I have known to put pencil to paper myself. These are a couple of mini comics I drew. One of them is actually based on a true story where I ran into my ex-girlfriend while working as a time traveler in medieval England. I have also worked with a team of female wrestlers, turned them into photocomic action heroes. and video movie stars and absurdist comedies that include interviews with Joe Franklin called Combat Twister, and the further battles of Kim Fu Yu versus Jenny Rancid. And as a medievalist, I have produced the longest in-print documentary of the Pennsic War, which is the largest medieval recreation event in North America. They just gave me permission to go back there again this year and do a follow-up video. So that's a lot of the Captain Zorikhism that we see here today.